Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the channel. My name is DaRealLegend, and I'm a content creator for Nova Esports. In today's video, we will be discussing a graveyard deck that you guys can use after you complete the graveyard challenge. This deck has been pretty solid in the meta for a while, and I see that it's returning with a higher usage rate. So I think that it's definitely worth checking out. And as part of my Is This Deck Still Good series, very happy to be using this deck again. All right, so before we go into the gameplay, and folks, I am giving you the warning right now in the beginning of the video. We're going to talk about a few other things first, right? I like to talk about Clash Royale news, and I also like to give you updates on what's going on with, my brand and everything else associated with it. So the first thing that I want to ask you guys, and this is in reference to a tweet by Molt. You guys don't know Molt. He's one of the biggest mobile gaming YouTubers. Great guy, awesome personality, and his content is solid, right? But as you know, Molt has had issues with Clash Royale in the past. And I'll read you the tweet, right? So Molt says, I've been wondering, does CR like it when people play the same decks for years? Do they like seeing people perfect something and get good at it at the risk of the game getting stale? And that's why we haven't seen much progression when it comes to metas and win conditions. I understand that point, right? But I'm going to continue the conversation. Right, because Clash with Ash, as you guys know, is the ambassador of Clash Royale, an awesome person as well, but he has a different take. So Ash responds with another Molt bait tweet for me with a heart, right? This is all love, right? At the end of the day, we all get along. We're all cool with each other. The meta is so diverse, and after almost 4 years, this stale game continues to rise in popularity. Look at all the viable decks and win conditions right now. Goblin Giant Sparky is number 1, and that's very true. A few months ago, you never have believed it. Look at all the viable win conditions at the moment. Royal Giant, Hogs, Giant, Royal Hogs, Mortar, Expo, Graveyard, Lava, Golem, Miner, Loon, Goblin Barrel, Ram Rider, Bridge Spam, Sparky. What exactly are you looking for? You seem to be perpetually unhappy with CR, yet you still play. Why? Now, the tweet started off pretty direct in regards to Molt's complaint. But at the end, Ash does point out a good question. If you're unhappy with the game, then why are you still playing, right? So I'm going to give my point of view on everything discussed here, right? So does the meta have decks that have been around for a very long time? Definitely yes. But those are decks that people want to perfect and use those in tournaments. So it's completely understandable for someone to use the same deck for years because that's what they're comfortable with. And it's almost like when you're playing a fighting game and you're very good with a specific character, you're only going to play with that character. That is your main character, right? Or when you play Overwatch and you're using a specific hero, that's your main, right? So that's the same type of mentality when it comes to Clash Royale. When you're playing a deck, that's your main deck. So if you're going to use it over and over, invest time and in-game currency to upgrade it, then I understand that. And if people are leaving the game and many are still playing it, I would expect the same decks to continue reappearing. But I do understand where Molt is coming from to a certain extent. Now, where Ash is coming from, he's explaining, because he covers decks every day for the last 3 years. We're talking about 365 days of Clash Royale for 3 years straight. So if anyone knows decks, it's Clash or Ash. And he's right. The meta is very diverse. When you jump into the ladder, you're not really seeing those classic decks, right? Because Clash Royale does have the classic challenge decks, which is probably what Molt's talking about. He's probably talking about like the Expo, the Siege decks, and etc. But there's a lot of win conditions, man. Look, Graveyard is coming back. Ram Rider decks are pretty sick. You got Mega Knight decks that are doing really well. You got your typical Golem decks, but there's cards that are interchangeable. I see Golem decks now with Electro Dragon. I see Golem decks that are using the Witch. You still see the decks with the Night Witch. I see P.E.K.K.A decks now being interchanged with different cards. I've seen a Miner deck with the Infernal Tower, right, which is pretty old, but I've seen other cards added into it, like Snowball. I'm not really seeing any Goblin Cage decks yet because the card is new and it's a little underwhelming, but aside from that, the other cards do play a part in the meta, like Royal Hogs. Like, I see those decks still going around with the Valkyrie, the Magic Archer. So So I agree with both of these gentlemen. They both make solid points. But I want to know what you guys think. So today's question today is, and it's not going to be who is right, because they're both right, but what is your take on the meta in Clash Royale? Do you think that the meta is at the most diverse it's ever been? Do you think that the game is getting stale? And what deck are you using right now? Because I'm curious to see if you guys are using a classic meta deck or a current meta deck, right? Because that's the difference, in my opinion. But that's it for that topic. Now, as far as updates with DaRealLegend of Gaming, just want to let you guys know that we are officially on Apple. Our first episode of podcast was approved and is officially released as of last night. So be sure to check that out. You can go over there, subscribe. If you could leave me a 5-star review, I really appreciate that. But this podcast is focused on gaming, comic book, and esports culture. It's something different than the YouTube channel. I kind of want to separate the two now so that I can give you more Clash Royale content on the channel. And then on my podcast, I can talk about basically whatever I want in regards to gaming, comic book, and esports. So I'm very excited about this project. I'm planning to drop one podcast episode a week to make it, digestible so you guys can have time to listen to it and, check it out. And also it gives me time to actually write and prepare for it to give you really good content into one episode, right? Because the podcast is generally a lot longer than my videos. So it gives me a lot of freedom to really be myself, you know what I'm saying? So that, as far as that, that's the news. And then, as I've been doing, we're also going to give you the gem of the day. So today's gem is, don't wait until you reach your goal to be proud of yourself. Be proud of every step you take. So a lot of people, they feel super accomplished when they complete their goal, but you got to give yourself credit for even first trying, right? The hardest step to doing anything is starting, right? That's the hardest step, is to actually start doing it. Then every step in between is just as important as accomplishing, because for one, you didn't quit and you're getting closer to your goal. So it takes a lot of strength, a lot of determination, motivation to get that done. So that's the gem of the day. Let me know in the comment section what you think about that as well. Now, let's get into the gameplay. All right, so you guys already saw the deck on the side, right? Because I do tease that during the video, because I know some people just like to come right in and check out the deck. I would like for you guys to watch the video, but I totally get it, right? Especially if you're watching the video from Stats Royale. All right, so here goes the match right here. We're going up against Golsat, Race de Petaco, right? Hope I said that right. And we're going to be using this Bowler, Baby Dragon, Ice Wizard, Tornado, Graveyard deck. I've covered this deck many months ago on the channel. So again, it was real refreshing to use it again, because it is a fun deck once you master it. Especially with the free spell, it works out pretty good. So they dropped down a Royal Giant, some max level Royal Giants. You got to take it very serious. We play the Ice Wizard with the Tornado, spray it down, and then we'll play the Barbarian Barrel on the left to catch that Hog, because I did not, let it go unattended. So we're slowing down the Royal Giant. We'll throw the Bowler to the side. Just in case they happen to play another splash unit card, I can separate the Bowler and the Ice Wizard from getting direct impact. So now the Ice Wizard is going to drop. They drop down a Mega Knight. I didn't expect that. I played my Graveyard a little prematurely. So folks, obviously I couldn't predict that. But you want to make sure you play the Graveyard when your Bowler crosses the bridge so the target of the Archer Tower can lock on. We'll use the Infernal Dragon to melt down the Mega Knight. And then now we just got to focus on keeping that Night Witch away from our tower. We'll use the Tornado to do that. And we're going to let our count build up, because we kind of overextended a little bit on defense there. But that's only because the Royal Giant is such a big threat. So now we'll use the Baby Dragon to tank for the Infernal Dragon. Baby Dragon is going to get a lot of splash damage done on the tower. And then Infernal Dragon is going to get some damage done against the Royal Giant. They played a Minion Horde. We got to use the Ice Wizards to slow it down a little bit. We'll play the Barbarian Barrel behind the Royal Giant so that we can get some damage done while the Ice Wizard slows it down. So yes, we got damage done against the tower. But again, we're in a pretty good spot because it's still early in the match. And we have a Graveyard. A Graveyard is one of those win conditions that can totally change the entire dynamic of the match. We're going to play the Bowler to the side, push those Max Elite Barbs away, and we got to now focus on that Hog who's sneaking in. This time we are going to use our Tornado, pull it in, activate the King Tower. We'll bring in the Infernal Dragon behind the Bowler. They're going to play a rocket that completely destroyed our push, but we're still going to play the graveyard because I know that they just spent 6 elixir. We're going to put the free spell on the Night Witch, and we're going to do a lot of damage. Look at that. Bring it on down. We are rocking and rolling. Now we need to focus on this minion horde. We played Baby Dragon to the side, Ice Wizard to the other, separates the radius for any damage from a rocket, and we're going to use a tornado to pull everything back. And yes, I am still paying attention to the hog. We got the Barbarian Barrel saved on the tuck for that situation. Now we'll play the bowler in front of everything. We got 2 splash units behind it. Guess what we're going to do? 1, we're going to wait and defend against that Mega Knight. We are going to freeze the Night Witch and Mega Knight, and we're going to have the graveyard finish off the tower because we only got 3 seconds to win this game, and we beat their rocket. Clutch victory. But folks, that's how you use the deck. Now, obviously, you see me make a couple mistakes with timing, but that's why I share these videos with you, to show you the mistakes so you can learn from them. Not the best player, not the worst player. I'm an average player just like you guys. So either way, you're going to improve. So here's the way to play the deck. Bowler, splash units behind it. As soon as that bowler crosses the bridge, you drop down your graveyard, let the damage roll in. If you have more than 6 elixir left, you drop down your free spell, slow everything down, and start saving for the defense. That's it. Simple as that. Deck still is solid even after it originally came out months ago, right? So appreciate all the support, folks. If you can show me some support, slap a like on this video, share with your friends, subscribe, check out my podcast, and also follow on Instagram. So other than that, I think I asked for a lot. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate everything. Peace out.